Hello everyone, back with me again, Dennis Wang. I found Creality printer very interesting because it has different working system compared to other printer I own. And if you look at the slicer Halot box, you could set everything like orientation, support, hollow, drain hole, layer height, enable or disable the antialiasing, except for the exposure settings. You could set the exposure on the printer itself, so if you need to make quick changes for the exposure due to failed print or overexposed, you can do it right away on the printer. So now let us have a look what includes in the box. Here we have the user manual, the warranty card, and we have a spare FEP here. We have 3 Allen keys, the QC certificate, the power cord, the filter for the resin, the flash disc, a brush, and the metal scraper. And this is a sharp scraper. Okay, I like this. For the printer build itself, we have a red acrylic cover and a whole metal casing. And I really like the metal casing. We have the USB port at the front here, and power plug and power switch at the back. For the build plate, it sits very nice here, but it has a very small surface area for you to hold, so be careful when removing the build plate. And the surface here, it has like a scratchy surface, just like when you sand your build plate. The resin tank is made from metal and the thumb screw is built in. We have the resin level indicator here. It only appears at one side, and there's a stopper here so you could correctly place your resin tank. For the screen, it is flat to the surrounding platform. For your information, we have tempered glass on top of the actual screen, but I will still consider to install screen guard because I'm lazy to clean up mess and resin could still seep from the gap of the glass and the platform. And for the front touchscreen, if you are experiencing lagging or unresponsive touch, you should update your firmware. And this is a very big screen compared to my Mini 4K. Let's have a look at the settings. We have the cleaning function. This is to clean your FEP if there is a failed print, but it doesn't have timer, so you could use stopwatch or use your filling. And this is for Wi-Fi connection. This is to update your printer. Let's have a look at the details. This is to bind your printer to your the Creality cloud. Back and other settings, language, custom skit, reset. When I look at the Z-axis movement, I only have the back to 0, and this is homing, and this is for leveling. So I don't see any manual movement for up and down for 1 millimeter. So it looks like I cannot do the dial indicator test. And if we look at the print settings here, if you want to print the file that you choose, you have to click it first, let it load, and go to the very first option here. And then this is where you set your print settings, the initial exposure, the bottom exposure, your normal layer exposure, the motor speed, and this is the light of delay of the rest time, this is the lift distance, and this is how many bottom layers that you want. and then you could simply just click start your print. The sensor for the homing is at the top here, so when you press homing or back to 0, it will go up instead of down. And look at the lead screw here. This is a separate unit. The lead screw and the stepper motor connect with this coupler. I know that I am unable to do dial indicator test, but pay attention here. The spiral from the lead screw will cause the lead screw to sway, and that is normal, but what I'm seeing here is a jerking sway. See, it kinda jerking. And this is from another angle. You should see here the jerking start. I think I can already guess what the result on my stability torture test, but we shall see later. Creality Halot 1 has integral light source, not matrix. And now I'm going to check the light intensity and uniformity. And yes, I must say it is quite uniform. And I do not see any UV light bleeds from the printer, and this is very good. Creality Halot 1 has air filter here, but I'm not sure what is the filter, so I think I will make some cage on top of the filter here and put some replaceable filter. Okay, it's the middle of the night. Now I'm going to test the noise level. Test 1 2 1 2. Around 68 to 70 decibel. So I like this because I do not hear any humming from the stepper motor. I have the print result here from Creality Halot 1 and Sonic Mini 4K on the right as comparison, and this is on the left with antialiasing on, at the middle is antialiasing off. But keep in mind, Creality Halot 1 only has 51 micron resolution, as comparison Sonic Mini 4K has 35 micron resolution. So this is not to show which printer is the best, and this is only for your reference. First up, let's have a look at the stability torture test. This is the first print, and this is the x-axis and y-axis. I have wobble lines in the print, just as I predicted when I look at the lead screw movement. I'm not sure what is happening here. And then I test it again on the second print. The ugly mark here is gone, still wobble lines and wobble lines. And I have applied super loop since the first print. And this is the third print, also wobble lines. So I print this tall ellipse to check the wobbles, and yes, I have wobble lines. And I'm quite curious because Creality Halot 1 is already in the market for a while, and I know that I'm not the first to review this printer, but I haven't seen anyone mentioning or said anything about this wobble problem. So it could be that I just have a bad luck with a defect product, but I think this should be easy fix. Maybe I just need to adjust the coupler or change the rigid coupler to flexible coupler, and we will see. If I manage to fix it, I will share it to you guys. I know that my Creality Halot 1 has wobble lines, but I'm still curious how bad does it affect all the print result here. So I continue with the test result, and next we will have a look at the antialiasing test. For your information, I will only compare Creality Halot 1 prints without antialiasing to Sonic Mini 4K, also without antialiasing, because I cannot use Chitubox on Creality Halot 1, which means I cannot use the usual antialiasing image blur 2 that I use. And I tried Lychee, the older and also the newer version, and I failed to load the slice into the printer, and I still trying to get around and figure out what happened, because I saw in the Facebook group people having succeed with the older version of Lychee, but I still failed to load the slice into the printer. So everything is sliced with Creality Halot box. Now let's have a close-up look to the antialiasing. And this is the Amder model that I usually use to test antialiasing. Both are without antialiasing or antialiasing off. On the left is Creality Halot 1 and on the right is Sonic Mini 4K. We could see that the edges of the voxel here seems more rough on Halot 1 compared to the edges on Sonic Mini 4K. Now here both print on Creality Halot 1. On the left without antialiasing and on the right antialiasing on, and it looks very promising. This is just enabled the antialiasing on Halot box, and because I'm curious, I tested on UV tools. I add the blur function and it looks worse on this blur function too. I even tested the blur function 4 on UV tools combined with Halot box. Blur function 6, still Halot box much better result. And the Gaussian function blur on UV tools. And the pyramid. And this is the Gaussian 3 on UV tools. So simply enable the antialiasing on Halot box gives you much better result. Now let's have a look at Sergeant Silus, especially the shield, comparing antialiasing off and on. I could still see the voxel is very much visible, but around here it is gone compared to this. And on the body, this is smooth around here, but we have voxel here. Let's have a look at the side of the helmet. Still very visible voxel on the side of the helmet. The eye details, pretty much the same result. Chainmail and the voxel around the around here is gone on antialiasing on compared to this one. Here we have voxel and it's gone here. And let's have a look at the comparison with Sonic Mini 4K, both without antialiasing. Definitely more sharp edges on Sonic Mini 4K compared to Halot 1, but I will say this gives a very good details considering it is only 51 micron. Less voxel on the chest at Sonic Mini 4K compared to Halot 1. And let's have a look at the eyes. Definitely 35 microns, slightly more sharp details. Okay, now we will have a look at the smaller Sergeant Silus. And this is the smaller Sergeant Silus on the left without antialiasing, on the right with antialiasing on. Let's have a look at the skirt armor. Very good result on antialiasing on, no voxel. The small hole in the chainmail here still visible on both. And for the shield, I would say pretty much the same result with the bigger Sergeant Silus. For the eye details, this 51 microns still capture very good details for Sergeant Silus. And this is for comparing Creality Halot 1 on the left and Sonic Mini 4K on the right. I could see Sonic Mini 4K helmet shows much more details, like the scars above the eyes here. But for the eye details, both are equals in my opinion. But the helmet seems much more smoother on Mini 4K compared to Halot 1. And for the chest armor, yes, Mini 4K seems much smoother because of the smaller voxel. And for the skirt, pretty much the same. And for the chainmail here, okay, also pretty much the same. And let's have a look at the shield. Looks like pretty much the same too, except for the edges of the voxel on Halot 1 is way more rough compared to Sonic Mini 4K. On the left, antialiasing off, on the right, antialiasing on, both print on Creality Halot 1. I could still see we have voxel here on antialiasing on. And for the facial details, the face is much smoother on antialiasing on compared to antialiasing off. Let's have a look at the shield. Yes, the details here much smoother on antialiasing on compared to this antialiasing off because of the voxels. And in general, the details for the shield much more visible with antialiasing on because of antialiasing off. The voxel, it seems make everything looks blurry. But what do you guys think? Let me know in your comment section. Let's have a look at the hair. It looks like all the voxel around the hair here is gone compared to the voxel at antialiasing off. For the cloak, I would say pretty much the same. Now let's have a look at Yinsilym. On the left, Creality Halot 1. On the right, Sonic Mini 4K. For the facial details, Halot 1 seems kind of blurry because of the voxel. And I cannot see any voxel on Sonic Mini 4K. And both are print without antialiasing. And for the chest armor, we have voxel here on Yinsilym and almost no voxel here on Sonic Mini 4K. Pretty much the same quality for the center of the chest And let's have a look at the shield. There is a very rough voxel here, but almost no voxel here. There's still some, but less visible compared to the Halot one. And because of the voxel from Halot one, all the detail seems kind of blurry compared to Sonic Mini 4K, much more pronounced detail. Let's check the hair. And for the hair, yes, I would say pretty much the same in terms of details, but because of the voxel, everything seems more blurry on Halot 1 and a little bit more smooth on Sonic Mini 4K. And for this 1/6 scale head sculpt, on the left antialiasing off, on the right antialiasing on. I could still see some voxels around the forehead on antialiasing on, a voxel inside the eyes also appear on the print with antialiasing on. Now let's check the side. The voxel here is very visible, but I could still see the voxel with the print on antialiasing on, but it's kind of blurry, the edges of the voxel. Now let's compare both without antialiasing for Halot 1 and Sonic Mini 4K. At Sonic Mini 4K, no voxel on the forehead or between the eyebrows here. We have voxel inside the eyes. And let's check the side here. I barely see voxel here, but no voxel around here compared to Halot 1. And on 1/12 scale head sculpt, left antialiasing off, right antialiasing on. The difference is I can only see that the voxel edge is very rough on antialiasing off, and it's kind of smoother on antialiasing on, but I could still see voxel everywhere. Let's check the side of the head here. Slightly smoother here on antialiasing on, but very bad voxel here. Very bad voxel around here. Slightly less visible voxel on antialiasing on. And this is on the left is Halot 1, on the right is Sonic Mini 4K, both without antialiasing. And yes, smoother voxel between the eyebrow, very rough voxel here. Let's check the side. In overall, the quality for Sonic Mini 4K is almost the same with Creality Halot 1 with antialiasing. Let's have a look. Now on the left, Creality Halot 1 antialiasing on the right, Sonic Mini 4K antialiasing off. Yes, I would say the quality is almost the same because no voxel here, also no voxel at Halot 1 with antialiasing on, off, on. The voxel here is very faint on antialiasing on, print on Creality Halot 1, but very visible voxel on Sonic Mini 4K here. This is antialiasing off. And for this latter model, on the left antialiasing off, on the right antialiasing on. What I found really weird is antialiasing on, the details for the embossed letter is much more visible compared to antialiasing off. Other than that, all the edges are very sharp. Now let's compare the antialiasing off with Sonic Mini 4K. Yes, definitely more visible details on this smaller letter here. And for this extrude letter, it seems the letters is slightly thicker compared to Sonic Mini 4K. But in overall, this detail is very good. And so far I haven't seen any bad effect on the print result from these wobble lines here, because if you look at the height comparison, it gets worse right above from this mini's head. So no wonder I do not see any bad wobbles under this height here. So I print another taller model. I get this model from Anycubic, designed by Mr. Tang, and thank you Anycubic to share this model to me. You could see I start to have wobbles around the cheek here. Now let's have a look close up to this model. Now on the left antialiasing off, on the right antialiasing on. Definitely much smoother on antialiasing on, although I could still see a very faint voxel here. I have a holes around the lips. I will show you why later. But for overall details, it looks very nice. Now let's compare on the left Creality Halot 1, on the right Sonic Mini 4K. The voxel looks very much the same, and the holes for the cloth mesh here, Sonic Mini 4K seems much more visible for the holes details. And on Halot 1, the holes looks kinda close. And for the skirt details, yes, we have sharper detail on Sonic Mini 4K. It is very obvious. Again, I'm not showing which printer is the best, and this is just for your reference. Look at the holes in this model that I print. At first, I thought I have a dead pixel on my screen, but after further checking the screen, I found that I have dirt underneath the screen between the bottom glass and the screen. So it requires me to fully take apart my printer just to clean this dirt here. And for the last test, I will measure this 20 millimeter cube. On the x-axis, it is 19.95 millimeters. And for the y-axis, 19.86. Let's check again. Yes, 19.86. So what do you guys think on all my test print result on Creality Halot 1? If you like this video, kindly consider to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to support my channel directly, you could check my Patreon link in video description. I guess I have several homework. First, I need to figure out why the older version of Lychee and the newer doesn't work on my Halot 1. Yes, I have tested the older version, the 3.5.1, which work on others, and I have read on Facebook group they said it works, but it doesn't work on my Halot 1. And my second homework is I have to figure out how to fix these wobble lines. I definitely will let you guys know if I have managed to fix the wobble lines. And if you be so kind to test this stability torture and also this this tall ellipse on your Halot 1, if you have one, kindly let me know if you experience any wobble lines or not. And thank you for watching my video. See you in the next video.